Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been a few days since I last posted and I really wanted to make this video. My thought process is that I will get out all the advice that I have to share before I start law school. Obviously, I know it's a little bit away, but that's my thought process. I really don't want to fall behind, and that way people just have more time to ask me questions and be prepared for the next cycle. I'm very sorry for like the lighting and the camera quality. I am genuinely filming this on my iPhone. I don't have like a fancy camera, just because like my goal isn't to like become a full-time content creator or anything. I just wanted to share this experience. Also on the basis of that, I did start sharing this experience on TikTok. For some reason today was very distracted and I meant to remove Instagram from my phone, and I actually removed TikTok. So now I don't have TikTok on my phone and the ban is in full swing and you cannot download it again. So I'm probably gonna have to go to Mexico and try to figure out some way to download it. But I honestly wanted to make YouTube the more centralized place that I was going to share this content anyways, just because obviously TikTok is like so up in the air right now. I also have Instagram, but that's not a place that I want to share this experience. So with that being said, go ahead and just like leave me a comment. You could message me on TikTok, I'll still see it, and yeah, I'm willing to help anybody. I have talked to 3 people on the phone, and I've messaged with a few others. And yeah, just know that when I say I'm here for anything, I truly mean that. I want to be a resource. I have gone through this, and I also didn't have anybody that I can talk to about this. I would go to Reddit, and it was such a scary and negative place, and it was really discouraging. But I tuned out all that noise, and now I am in this position that I am. I am accepted into 3 law schools. I'm waitlisted at 5, and I've been denied at 2. And I promise you all that I am going to be so honest with everybody, just because I've always been this person. I've always been honest. And I don't see the purpose in like lying or keeping things from you all, because I want to empower everybody to follow their dreams. And if law school is your dream and you feel like the LSAT is not your pathway, then I want you to know that the JD Next can be a pathway. So with that being said, I want to start. I really want to give like an introduction into me. It's going to be very chronological, just because that is the way that I got into the legal profession. It was very chronological, and I had a very hard time like coming to terms with that, especially because you get so much mixed advice like on personal statements like, no, don't make it like that, that's so boring. But if it's true for you, it's true for you, and you cannot lie about it. So yeah, I'm going to just start with a quick introduction. So everyone, my name is Graciela Rodarte. I am a first generation Latina. I do speak Spanish, hablo español, and I am a daughter of immigrants. My dad was born in Mexico, my mom was born here, and they're both from Zacatecas, Mexico. If you know, you know. Best place ever in this whole entire world. It's beautiful. So yeah, I obviously have that going for me, like those experiences, those barriers, those social stigmas, and then I also have some privileges, and I say that with like just very sincere. My family, they own a lot of small businesses, but one of those businesses they bought when I was 5 years old, and at the age of 8, I started working in the family business. So this started off as a tortilla factory, a torteria, where we would make tortillas from scratch, and then we just obviously grew the business into a restaurant. So I've been working in the business as a waitress, an event coordinator, the social media person. So I have that background that I obviously put in my resume and a little bit of my personal statement, because it's very unique and I don't think a lot of people have this experience, especially as like first gens, Latinas. And it kind of follows all throughout my application. Like I shared it in an addendum. So I am more than happy to share that in later videos. So with that being said, I went to a really small high school with a graduating class of like 60. I played volleyball and softball throughout high school. When I went to college, I attended the University of Arizona, and I absolutely fell in love with the University of Arizona. My experience there was top tier. I would not trade it for anything in the world. I did start off as a psychology major. I quickly learned that that was not for me. I didn't like it. I was passing the classes, but I wasn't retaining information. And I would say that's like a very telltale sign. Like if I could give you some advice, is if you do not like it, you're not going to do well in it. So like do something that you're going to like. And as a first gen, we have so much like criticism from our parents, like, oh, you're wasting time, you're switching around. They don't get it, and they will never get it, unfortunately. And if they're not supportive, you still need to do what's best for you. So there's like my first little bit of advice. So I switched my major from psychology to law, and I absolutely fell in love with it. For those that don't know, the University of Arizona claims to be the first I guess, university that doesn't have a pre-law program. It's actually a law program. So within that, I actually took law courses that were taught by law professors. It was a mix of undergrad students and master students, and we went through the cases. We learned about FIRAC, facts, issues, rule, analysis, conclusion. We learned about all of that, and we learned about how to do legal writing and whatnot. So I did already kind of understand the foundations of how a law class works. I want to keep this very linear, so just keep in mind, right, that I already had taken some law-related classes. I'll just talk about some internships. I did do about 5 to 6 internships. 2 of those were nonprofit law firms, and then the other ones were just like other immigrant-focused serving organizations. What can I say about those law firms? I learned so much. That is truly where I learned that I wanted to be in the legal profession. I didn't know in what type of capacity at that time, but I did fall in love with the legal profession. I learned about the inaccessibility of our legal system and how people that are lower income or disadvantaged do not have access to justice or attorneys like we think that they do. And this was eye-opening for me. Yeah, this is also where I saw a lack of Spanish-speaking attorneys, and I was like, something here is wrong. Why is a 19-year-old undergraduate student translating for a top professional attorney? And I was like, I am an answer to this issue of, lack of diversity, a lack of representation, and the way that these people would light up when they saw me speak Spanish, when they saw someone in their corner advocating for them, when they saw someone that understood the struggle. For them it was changing, and for me it was life changing. And this is when I was like, okay, legal profession, I want to do something in this. I guess both nonprofit law firms did different things. One was an immigration law firm, and the other one was like a civil legal firm. So we did like divorce, custody, paternity, consumer protection, a lot of other things like that. So around this time, it was about like 2019, 2018. 2020-ish, yeah, like around that time, because I was at the law firm for like a little bit. And this is kind of where I started to like, okay, if I want to go into the legal profession, what do I got to do? And obviously I learned that I have to take the LSAT. So I started studying for the LSAT. Keep in mind, I was doing internships. I was a full-time student. I lived at home, so I had to commute 1 hour sometimes every day back and forth, and I worked at my family's restaurant throughout this time. So I was very busy, and I was trying to study for the LSAT at the same time. I did take the LSAT, and I got a really low score. I got a 136. For those that know, that's a very low score. I think it starts at 120 and it goes up to 180. So a 136 is absolutely horrible. The average is like a 150, 160. So I was very below average. And this is when I kind of just shut down completely, and I was like, I'm not going to go into law school. I'm not going to get into law school. I have horrible stats. And I shut down, and I was done. I gave up on my dream of going to law school because of the LSAT. Fast forward, after this decision, I didn't even practice anymore, and I just let it go. Then COVID rolled around. I was in college during COVID. I graduated during COVID, so it's kind of sad, but we got past that, and then I started getting job opportunities. So I did work at another nonprofit immigration legal firm, and this place was one of the best and worst experiences of my life. And I say that because the best experience is that I truly found my passion, and that is, I believe, immigration law. And I learned so much at that law firm. But unfortunately, that law firm was doing things very incorrectly in a very negligent way. And I had to end up resigning. I look back at it as like the best learning experience because now I know the type of attorney that I will never become. But it was extremely hard to even decide when to quit. It was extremely hard to voice my concerns and being dismissed by the attorney and everyone in her corner. It was extremely hard to not have mentors to talk to about this and be like, am I wrong for feeling this way? Or, yeah, it's just first gen problems, if I'm being very honest. So, like I said, I ended up resigning, and then I got a job at my current job. I got hired at my current job, where I am a DOJ rep, a Department of Justice accredited representative, and I am also a legal advocate. So my main roles right now is I host presentations, I communicate with clients, I fill out applications, I do interviews. I kind of do like the day-to-day, I don't want to say paralegal things. And then I'm also, like I said, a DOJ rep. For those that don't know, a Department of Justice accredited representative is a person that is authorized to practice immigration law, but only when they are working with nonprofits, and it has to be an accredited representative. So you have to submit an application to the Department of Justice. They're going to obviously screen you. You do have to have knowledge of immigration law, and you have to have attended a course. So I did this at Villanova University. I did it virtually, and there's two types. There's partial and fully. I did both courses, but at this moment I am just partially accredited, which means I can work on cases with USCIS. So this is kind of like family petitions, U visas, VAWAs, so on and so on. Those who don't know immigration law will not understand these terms, but if you do, you do. And then when you're a full accredited rep, you could actually go to immigration court and represent immigrants in court. So yeah, I kind of did this DOJ rep to compensate for the fact that I wasn't gonna go to law school and I wasn't gonna be a lawyer. And for a long time, I made myself feel better about it. I even sold it to my parents. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do everything that an immigration attorney can. I'm just not gonna be an attorney. I don't have that title of an attorney. And for a while I thought that was gonna fulfill me, but at this job that I also had, I went through some really turbulent situations as well. There was certain people that made me feel like I was stupid and I could never become an attorney. And I remember just feeling like this isn't gonna fulfill me. Being a DOJ rep is not the same as being an attorney, and people are gonna treat me that way. And I started to feel like I wanted to try again to go to law school. I also, during this time, I started going to therapy. I just want to say that I did not feel depressed. I did not feel anxious. I just felt like something in my life was missing, and I just felt like, I just didn't feel like my 110% self. So I started going to therapy, and it was a lot of back and forth of, yes, I want to go to law school. No, I don't want to go to law school. Okay, I'm going to take the LSAT. I scheduled a September test, and I'm going to study these 6 months. Then I'm going to take the test. And then I was like, no, I don't want to take the LSAT. So then I would cancel my exam and get my full refund. It was a lot of that, a lot of back and forth. And yeah, I guess it just had to be like God's perfect timing, the perfect storm. I had very strong recommendations from like people around me, people that really believed in me. And I honestly can't say how I found the JD Next, but I did. And I was like, okay, this could be a way for me to get into law school without taking the LSAT. So let me just jump into the JD Next. The JD Next is made with Aspen Publishing and the University of Arizona. Obviously, as you all know, I attended the University of Arizona. The way that the test is structured is that you take a course first, a first-year contract law class, a 1L law class contract, and then you get tested on what you were meant to learn. It is 8 weeks long, and then the exam is 4 hours with 80 multiple choice and 2 essay questions and a break in between. It is scored from 400 to 1,000, and obviously like every right answer gives you points. I will say that my score was a 760. And yeah, let me just walk you through kind of like that situation. So I decided to take the JD next, and I study, I take the course. It's 8 weeks long, and then it's time for the exam. I take the exam. I think the results take about like 3 weeks to get back, and then the cost of the cohort is, well, when I took it, I think I was probably one of the first like actual classes to go through it. I paid about 250, 270, but I do believe that price has gone up. So I took my exam, and at that time I was working on my personal statement, I was looking on my letter recommendations, I was working on all the other materials that build an application. And then I got my score back, and it took me a while to realize, to like debrief what my score truly meant. My boss, who I'm going to say is my mentor, and if she watches this, I love you so much. Thank you for the support. But her and I were kind of just going back and forth on like what my exam score meant. I got a 760 again, and I honestly just picked up the phone and I called some law schools and I was like, hi, I just got my JD Next score. I want to know like in what capacity are you using it, if you're allowed to share that with me. And I called both of the universities are in Arizona, and they both told me this is actually the first year that we're taking it, so go ahead and submit when you're ready. Here is like the little like kicker is that, as I mentioned, I took the LSAT in 2019. For those that know, the LSAT is valid for 5 years, so my LSAT score was still valid. This is 2024 that we're talking about. So my LSAT score was still valid, but there was some law schools that do 5 years to the day that you take the exam, and then some that are 5 years to the term. So I took my LSAT September 19th, 2019. So if I would have applied September 19th, 2024 to some schools, they were going to see my LSAT score. And if I would have applied the 20th of September of 2024, they would have not seen it. So I had to be very strategic on how I was going to move, because I know that my LSAT is low. And I know that some schools would automatically reject me when they saw that. So with that being said, I asked ChatGPT, like, hey, this is my score. What does it mean? I scored in the 65th percentile. Can you make me understand what this means? And ChatGPT was like, this means that you scored 65% better than most test takers, and 35% scored better than you. And as I like grappled with it and I asked, like, is this good? Is this bad? I just came to the realization that my score was pretty solid. I remember calling my boss, and we kind of just, I told her everything that I knew about my exam score, and there was like this silence, and she asked me like, so are you gonna go for it? And I was like, yeah. And that's whenever I was like all steam ahead. I was not gonna take the LSAT. I think I actually was scheduled for an LSAT like a few months later. I ended up canceling that, and I don't know if it was my intuition, I don't know what it was, but I just ran with it. I obviously finished my materials, my letter recommendations, my addendums. I did make an addendum explaining why I decided to take the JD next and why I decided not to invest more time in the LSAT. And yeah, so now I'm in this position where I have been accepted at a few schools, and I don't know what else to say. This was a very lonely process, as I think anyone will tell you, right? Like, applying to law school is so hard, so rigorous. But I think using this new exam that not a lot of people have, I don't want to say a positive experience, but they don't have an experience with it, was very, very new to me. And I really just had to trust that I was a strong person, that I was qualified, that I was enough, that I deserved this opportunity. And obviously it worked out for me. I don't know what else I can share with you all about the JD Next. I will say that it's very, like, I want to say hands off, but in a way where like no one truly teaches you the materials. You have to teach yourself, and you have to understand the legal concepts, and you have to understand them in a way that you will be able to apply them with a certain fact pattern. So I think that is very crucial. If I could give you any advice, it would be like, don't be scared to Google these cases, don't be scared to read, and truly try to understand what is the concept and what are the elements of these legal concepts, for lack of a better word. I don't know how else to describe it to you. So yeah, I think that is all that I had to share with you all. I know it was kind of a lot, so I guess just to recap, I have this very linear progression to me being interested in the legal profession. You know, high school, college, internships, jobs, LSAT, JD Next, and now I'm here. I do want to share with you all my personal statement. I do want to share the addendums that I wrote. I do want to share my letter of recommendations. So let's just wait for me to obviously pump out those videos, and hopefully they can be helpful to you. I just also wanted to add towards the end of this, and I'm sorry that I'm clipping it like really awkwardly. I just remembered this. It's very discouraging when you take the JD Next and you see on law schools' websites clear language that we give preference to the LSAT. We will look at the LSAT first, then we will look at the JD Next, and then do a holistic review. We will give preference to scholarship money for those who take the LSAT. It is very, 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 like, disheartening to read that. It's very, like, it kills your motivation. But I am here to tell you and attest that I have gotten scholarships at every single law school that has accepted me. And I didn't even think that was a possibility. And I'm like obviously so happy about it. So please don't let anything discourage you. You go for it. The worst thing that they can say is no, and you're going to be in the exact same position you're in right now. And if they say yes, and then they give you scholarships on top of it, you're going to be so happy. And if they say yes and they don't give you money, then obviously maybe you're going to work it out. If you want to be an attorney and this is your goal and your dream, you're going to work it out. Throughout this whole process, I just kept telling myself, I just need one. I just need one law school. I just need one law school to see the potential that I have. And now I have 3 with 5 on the wait list. So yeah, I just really wanted to add that in here. And I also want to say that as of now, I think there is 59 law schools that actively accept the JD Next. You do have to go on their websites and search a little bit, like if they accept the exam. I know that some of them say, oh, we accept it, but obviously the LSAT is first in our mind. Don't be scared to pick up the phone. Don't be scared to send emails. You have to get these answers. You have to put your foot in the door because no one else is going to do it for you. This was what I did. I called people. I emailed people. Did I have some awkward conversations? Yes, I did. Did I have some amazing conversations that gave me all the confidence in the world? Yes, I did. So I just really wanted to add that. I'll be adding Aspen Publishing's website to the JD Next, and I'll be adding the school variance list so you can look at all the law schools that accept the JD Next. Yeah, thank you.